I've been putting the cart before the horse with investing to this point. Rather than focusing on producing more active income, I've spent a lot of time and energy towards buying passive income, little by little. This reduces my ability to earn through more active and potentially more lucrative efforts. And now it's time for a change.
I really do think that in a weird way, I've been focusing too much energy towards investing, at least into more defensive sorts of assets like real estate and stocks, for example. Those things historically have worked quite well and maybe will continue to work just as well in the future. Of course, time will tell, but they're very much long-term assets. They will produce pretty decent returns over a very long period of time. And in some cases, you can get lucky where you hit a home run with a particular investment and you multiply your money a few times over in a very short period of time. It's very hard to bank on, but I really view those more passive investable assets as wealth preservation rather than the true offense that you might have in your whole financial picture. And I think it's time to seriously change my focus. Here's what I mean by that. On the left here, we have active income. This would really be the offensive side of things. Income really is the offense in finance. And I'm pushing that more towards passive income, the defensive side of things, so that if things go bad over here, I still have this to kind of rely on. But the thing is, I'm putting a ton of energy towards trying to produce passive income with my current active income. But really, I think that's a pretty slow way of doing things because I quickly run out of active income that I'm pouring into these passive investments. And then the passive investments only throw off a little bit extra income every single month or quarter or whatever it is if it's dividends. But instead, I think I should take most of this energy that I'm spending right here and instead revert it back into producing more active income. And then this active side of things can grow a lot more, and I could still be investing in passive assets in the meantime to try and build up that sort of defensive side of things. I don't want to completely ignore defense, but I really think I should focus way more energy on offense, at least for now. But I really want to elaborate on this active income point. What exactly is it and how do you actually grow it? For most people, including myself, our primary sources of income are our jobs. We clock in at work, we go work for someone else, and that is our primary source of income. Someone else is paying us for our time or our performance for their underlying business. There's often sort of a fixed cap on how much you can really earn in that position, but nevertheless, that's a major way that most people make their money. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can make quite a bit of money doing that, and if you're diligent with your investing and saving, you can get to a pretty strong position if you give things enough time. And that's the path I'm currently on. I have a well-paying career in law. I'm making money that way. I'm taking a large portion of that income and then throwing it into investments. And to this point, those investments have primarily been into real estate and stocks, which I document every month in my net worth updates. And I've slowly been increasing my investment or passive income that way, but it takes a lot of money to sort of buy passive income, at least in most cases. But I want to focus on my primary, more active income producers rather than going straight towards those passive investments, because that, I think, is where the real growth engine is. And while I could try to make some extra money in my job, if I bill a number of extra hours, I can get a bonus or something that way, there's still a limit in how much I can really earn by doing that. So I want to look for more scalable income opportunities, even if they are pretty active. And that's where acquiring existing businesses would come in, and specifically existing small businesses, ones that I could become a part of and take a very active role in taking them over. I would look for small businesses that have existing cash flow and are in a pretty decent position, but probably need some operational improvements to smooth things out and maybe even automate some things so that I don't have to take as active of a role after I make those changes. But the point is, the thing would need some work to really take it to the next level, or maybe it wouldn't need all that much work and I could just keep riding the profits from there. But the big reason I'd focus on a small business rather than, say, a piece of real estate to drive income is the fact that cash flow yields for something like a small business at a decent price can be much, much higher than your typical real estate deal right now, at least one that wouldn't need too much work. Now, in many cases, a business for sale might also have some real estate, and that real estate could be an additional source of value within the deal, maybe not so much for cash flow, but potentially to take my money back out of the deal or just do something else to keep that deal flexible. That's actually the case for a small business I'm looking at in Houston, where the business owns the real estate it's on and they're selling that real estate with the entire business. I'm actually meeting the seller in person very soon, so I'll keep you posted if anything happens there, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The overall premise is that I want to acquire existing businesses that maybe have room for growth maybe they don't, but otherwise have really strong cash flow positions, really focusing on cash flow, at least to a much higher level than you might be able to get with a more passive investment. And I'm making it my stated goal that by the end of 2023, I'd be in a position where I'd be earning $500,000 in annual cash flow with my business portfolio. I might be able to do that with one business, or maybe I'll need to get many, but the point is I want to push towards that pretty lofty goal. It's a goal that makes me uncomfortable enough to think that it's probably not possible, but it's also just realistic enough that I'm still motivated to try and go for it. That goal is definitely going to force me to think creatively, and I think will be big towards actually growing as an investor, as an entrepreneur, and in actually just trying to improve my financial position. In doing quite a bit of market research over the last few months, it definitely seems like there are some really good opportunities in the small business space, and even just one or two decent deals can really go a long way towards getting me close to that goal. So it's really about putting those deal terms together and then also finding a way to streamline operations when you actually get the business and try to take it to the next level. So this is definitely going to be my focus for the foreseeable future, but that doesn't mean I'm going to avoid passive investing altogether into things like stocks and real estate. I do want to keep putting at least some money towards that as a sort of safety net, an insurance policy if these efforts don't go all that well. I just think it makes sense to throttle back a bit on those and instead focus more on these active efforts, because then I'd have a lot more income coming in, and then it would make more sense to try and move more of that to more defensive assets, because then I'd have more capital to deploy. I think it's worth a try, and even if I get halfway to my goal, I'd be very happy with that result. Although I'm pretty confident I'll make some significant strides towards my goals, there's always a chance that things aren't going to work out and probably won't work out the way I planned, in which case all I can do is learn from my experience. I guess that's the whole game we're playing anyways. But in any event, I thank you all for your consistent support and look forward to seeing you throughout the journey. But until next time, take care.